My name is Lindy McGee, and I live here in Macomb, Mississippi. I have two children. Bennett is 15 and fully vaccinated with the exception of the Tdap that was recently mandated for 7th grade. I didn't allow him to get it, and we're homeschooling because we live in Mississippi and have no other option. And my daughter Palin is 7. I researched. I didn't want Ben to be vaccinated. My husband and I discussed it. We decided she wouldn't be vaccinated, but I was a 20-year-old mom and went into those well baby checkups that I thought I had to go to and left crying every time because I knew that I shouldn't have been vaccinating him. So fast forward and Palin comes along and I'm not vaccinating her. I began Ask Jeeves was my research when Ben was little. Things were so much more easily accessible. I'd heard about vaccine injury. But more than anything, what prompted me not to vaccinate Palin was just Holy Spirit guidance, a conviction that I didn't need to vaccinate her. So I had her at UMC in Jackson, and they asked me about the Hep B shot. I said no. She ended up having to be on a precautionary antibiotic, IV, because they thought they might have seen something on her lungs. She was struggling just a little bit. And before we left the hospital, she was perfect. She nursed beautifully, no problems at all. They came in and asked about the Hep B again. And I told them no, I didn't want to have it. And my mother, who was an RN, was standing right there next to me. And my mom and this nurse just gave me the riot act. And I hadn't slept in a few days, and I was just weak, and I let her get that vaccine. And she had already been discharged. We were waiting on me to be discharged from the hospital. Before I was even discharged, they had to readmit her. She turned the color of a carrot with jaundice. Her bilirubin was I think it got up to 18. It took us over 4 weeks to bring her bilirubin down. It got all the way up into the 20s. I remember my mom being super concerned about her having brain damage because of connipterus. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but...
Explain it.
Okay, so the Hep B shot protects against hepatitis B. When I filed the VAERS report several years later, because even as much as I knew about vaccines, when you're so far down in it and living it, you just don't see things with clarity like you do in hindsight. So when Palin was 4 years old is when I started putting the pieces together. Like, I can't believe looking back that I didn't see it as it happened, to recognize that it was from that Hep B. But we went to the 2-month appointment, and I left that doctor, and we've never set foot back into a pediatrician's office, and she's super healthy. But I know that it was Holy Spirit guidance to know that she was sensitive, and I've just always been so careful about our environment, everything she eats. But the first year of her life was hell. She stopped nursing after she got that shot. She could not handle any of the formulas, ended up being on Alimenum, which to me is the vaccine injury formula that the doctors around here put you on.
What's it called?
Alimenum. It's by Similac. Is that what it is?
That?
It's just it's a formula that is astronomically expensive. It even smells like metal. She spit up every day for the first almost year of her life. It was horrible. It was horrible. My mother, since then, watched everything happen. She looks back now, like I would make up pediatrician appointments for her because she would ask me about Palin, and I told her that we were going to do vaccines and just delay them.
Does your mother watch Periscope?
My mom is standing right there.
Okay.
Listen, since then, I told her on a trip to Baton Rouge, she was asking me about it, and I was like, Mom, Palin hasn't had any vaccines since the hepatitis B. And it was almost like she was relieved because she had been seeing the things I posted on Facebook, and she recognized that I was right. And she said, I've been thinking about it, and I had to ask myself, as a nurse, what am I basing this belief in vaccines on? And she's like, I'm not basing it on anything. They told me in nursing school that you give vaccines and they're good. That's not a credible thing to base, a rigid stance on.
So your mum's a nurse?
She's a nurse, and she's 100% in agreement with me now.
Okay, so this is interesting. Your mum's a nurse. Were you a nurse? Or?
No, I'm just a mom.
So you're the opposite to me. I was like your mum.
See,
you were like my mum.
Right.
It's really interesting how we don't connect as
Right.
one family. So you've now changed your mum completely around the other way.
completely around.
What type of nurse was she?
She works on the bone with bone doctors. She works in New Orleans.
And
at
she was
East Jefferson.
pro-vaccine.
Pro-vaccine. She was. And when she looked back in hindsight after we talked about it, she said, I really was concerned about Palin having autism because she wouldn't make eye contact when she was a baby, and just some little things that you pick up on because it's so discussed now if you're paying attention. But Palin, I tested her genetics 2 years ago, and it turns out that she's homozygous MTHFR 677. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that had I continued to vaccinate her, she would not be healthy. I know she wouldn't because of how she reacted to that hepatitis B shot.
So first of all, tell us, you're also part of the vaccine group
I
here.
co-direct Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights with Mary Jo Perry. And
Do you have a lot of people in that group?
we do. We just hit our private group. We just hit 2,000.
Wow.
So
So tell people who live
Okay.
in this area how they get involved. It's really important.
we have a website, MPVR, for Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights.org. And when you go to that site, you'll have the option to like our Facebook page. And we have a Facebook group, MPVR group. So you can search it that way and enter the group. Now, in the past 2 years, we have divided up the state into 8 different regions. So we have regional chapters now. And once someone enters into our big group, they have the option, if they want to be politically active, to fill out our membership form, and we vet them and place them into their regional group, where we have regional coordinators who take them and teach them how to work with their legislators, their senator and their representative, so that we can have constituents for everyone at our capital speaking to them on this issue.
And it's really important that people sign up.
It's so important that
For
you
your
sign
future,
up.
yeah.
That you sign up, and it's so simple to make a phone call. It just really is so simple. People have a problem, just like with Vaxxed. We've been promoting Vaxxed to get these theaters sold out, and so many of these young moms have no problem calling their pediatrician, even if their pediatrician is ugly to them about vaccines, and asking them to see the film. But we've had a really hard time getting people to call their representative. They are in that position to hear from constituents. And I don't know what the disconnect is, but it's like pulling teeth to get people to call their representative and their senators. It really is.
Maybe we need to do a video of an example of what a phone call or...
We've talked about doing that. We were going to have like Senator Flip Waffleson and Representative, I don't know, just crazy names, and do some role play.
Well, we could just do it for Berwick, Karen. See?
That'd be fun.
Why not? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, sometimes people just need to be shown. I'm a visual person, so unless I see it visually,
Right.
I don't understand it.
That's right.
So, okay, well, so what would your advice be to a young parent today?
No, my honest advice is that they need to know that they do not have to see a pediatrician. ChiroCare, I think, is a fabulous option, and to just make sure that they vet their doctor, and that if they do see a pediatrician, that he or she is respectful of their wishes, because I believe with my whole heart that a parent's intuition means more and carries so much more weight than any person with any amount of letters behind their name. We know our kids. We know our kids, and I would just encourage people to listen to their gut, because it's just not going to lead us wrong as mothers. Most every parent that I talk to, and I hear from a lot of parents, especially in Mississippi, I'd say the vast majority of them all say that they had a bad feeling. They wish they would have listened. Every one of them. Joni, that was just on, she did. I mean, every person here that I know of.
Did you have half your friends part of a hospital or something? You've got every single different department pretty much covered this afternoon in the interview. Quite interesting.
I've been in this fight before I even knew it was a fight. When I had been, I was the only person I knew that questioned vaccines. And when Facebook, you know how it does the memories from years ago?
Mm-hmm.
When I see my vaccine post from 2009, I have one friend like it that's in Utah. And just over the years, I've been so vocal about it. And then when I was in a leadership role for MPVR, it's amazing when you're open about something, people, and you do it in love and you share in love, people reach out to you. And so all of my friends are, I mean, this is my friends that are here.
Diane, I'm Linda's mom. Very nice to meet you.
You're her mum.
I'm her mom. Yes.
Thank you. You're actually live at the moment.
I'm live.
Thank you. Yeah, I can put her together. It's lovely to meet you. She's an amazing woman. Yeah.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
She is dedicated to this. I tell her all the time, we all need a purpose, and I feel like this is her purpose.
She's lovely.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I met her.